This is the Dan Fagan Radio Show. You can be part of Dan's show by sending an email to dan@kfqd.com or call us at 522-0750.
All right, welcome back. Jason Klein in studio for Dan Fagan today, the #1 radio host in Alaska. That's Dan, not me. But it's always good to fill in for him. You've got, as I said, Jason Klein with Ryan McKee in studio, who is the president of the Alaska College Republicans. And we've got Alex Schriver on the line. We're going to go ahead and bring him on. Alex, welcome to the program.
Hi there, how are y'all?
Doing pretty well. How are you today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. So Ryan's been telling me a little bit about this sort of battle for the new chairmanship of the CRNC. Why don't you give us a little history and background and tell us about how it's been going?
Absolutely. Well, the College Republican National Committee is a 527 political committee based out of Washington, D.C. The chairman is a full-time, 2-year paid position that lives in Washington, D.C. and hires a staff and works out of that office. And every 2 years, the state chairs from around the country gather to elect a new state chairman that runs that office. The next election will be in July of 2011, and we currently have 3 candidates in the race. As you mentioned, I'm one of them. And we'll be spending the next several months traveling around the country, visiting with college Republicans, talking about the future of the organization, where we see the race going, where we see the organization going, and hopefully serving as the next CRNC chairman.
Sure. Now, Zach is the current chairman, and I know he's not running for re-election, right?
That is correct. Zach Howell,
who
is a
good dude.
native of Utah.
Yeah, good dude, Zach Howell. I've hung out with him many times, actually. Ran into him in North Dakota this summer, of all places. But we'd hung out in D.C. before. Now, is Jeremy Hagan going to be left on as executive director as of now? What's the status there?
I don't believe so. Generally, the chairman will bring in a new staff. And so turnover can be a good and a bad thing.
Sure.
The current administration with Zach and Jeremy have done a great job over the last year and a half of promoting the organization and sort of rebuilding our image and helping to get us a seat at the table for sure.
Yeah, because a couple years ago there were some fundraising scandals that the current administration wasn't involved in, but I thought they've done a really good job of fundraising, the current administration.
No, you're exactly right. A little background on the organization. Until the early 2000s, the CRNC was actually a branch of the Republican National Committee. Mm-hmm. And in that capacity, basically, all stipend and worked out of the RNC headquarters. A Supreme Court ruling in the early 2000s changed that and essentially made the CRNC its own organization. When that happened, it blew up in terms of fundraising. And when you have a couple, 22-year-olds running a multi-million-dollar organization, there are sometimes some problems. And unfortunately, in the early 2000s, those problems were given a face and a name, and we definitely had our fair share of controversy. But the last 2 administrations have definitely worked to rebuild that image, and we're very proud of where we are now and what we've been able to accomplish just this last election cycle.
So, as it sits now, Jeremy and Zach, they were the executive director and the chairman respectively, have done, I thought, a great job with Operation Red November. They've done good with fundraising. What is your plan as chairman to continue that and also possibly build on that? Do you have any specifics?
I do. When we sat down and talked about running for chairman, we kind of basically looked at our dream board and we wrote down all the things that we thought would help move this organization forward. And we were able to basically put those into 4 different groups, and that is build, basics, budget, and brand. And we kind of developed our platform around those 4 bullet points. The role of the chairman, first and foremost, is to raise money. In politics, it definitely takes money to do anything, and we're able to do so much across the country, whether it's Operation Red November, which is our field program, or some of our issue-based advocacy programs like Don't Put It on Our Tab, because of the fundraising successes of the current administration. And so the opportunity to increase our fundraising, build upon some of those programs is definitely something that my administration would want to do. The second is brand. I'm a big believer in having a uniform product, and that is that the experience that a college Republican has in Alaska can be the same that a college Republican has in Alabama, where I'm from.
Absolutely.
And we have 250,000 members all across this country at over 2,000 college campuses. And the national organization definitely serves to serve those chapters and those state federations to give them the resources to provide that uniform product.
Sure.
And the third bullet point is basics. That's sort of your blocking and tackling of politics. We've done a good job of that, and there's definitely some resources to go from good to great in terms of that, increasing our field program. This year we had 25 field reps in 5 states. We had them in Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Florida. And with 2012 right around the corner, we'll definitely be having a field program that will play a huge impact in the next presidential election.
Absolutely, yeah.
The last bullet point real quick is build. I mentioned earlier about the turnover every 2 years. One of the biggest struggles that faces our organization is that not only every 2 years do we have turnover at the national level, but every 4 years we have complete turnover in our membership.
Yep.
And so it's difficult to build any long-term stability when you have that level of turnover. And so working to create a long-term strategic plan for the organization, which would include a board of directors that would serve, branching in our alumni program, things like that, to make sure that we're not reinventing the wheel every 24 months.
Absolutely. Well, Alex, it sounds like you got a solid plan, and from what I understand, you've got some pretty solid support, especially some friends of mine nationwide who are involved in college Republicans, and I'm rooting for you, man, and I look forward to meeting you.
I appreciate it.
Yes.
I look forward to meeting y'all as well.
All right, and Brian's going to give us a little speech. Alex, thank you again for calling in, and we'll keep up with you.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.